What do you think from about these plans announced by Sajid Javid today?
The plans that have come through are just so incredibly disheartening, so incredibly demoralizing, and all they are just headline grabbing stuff. But actually, when you start to break that detail down, what becomes extremely evident is that this is a government completely out of touch with general practice. We have been pulling out all the stops over the last 18 months with the pandemic. And the government has responded with yet more metrics, yet more stick, yet more bureaucracy. And honestly, the 250 million, I wish it would say it's for general practice, but it's not. It's not for general practice. It's very, very clearly evident that it comes with so many different strings attached and is meant to go to urgent care, is meant to go to 111. And there's no clear process, more hoop jumping, more metrics to try and access it. And if I was to try and break it down for you, for the average listener out there, what does 250 million actually tangibly mean over the winter months? It means £1, just under £1 per patient, if it were to even make its way through into general practice. And I can tell you right now, we'd be very lucky if we saw any of it.
Some interesting things, or certainly I found interesting in these proposals today. A lot of viewers watching this will feel that they haven't had a great service when it comes to accessing their GPs. So many patients will welcome some of these measures. So, for example, text-based systems to give feedback on the GPs, this league-based table about who is essentially delivering and who is not. Many viewers will welcome things like that.
So I think we need to look at the sheer amounts of work that general practice has delivered. Just in August, we've had 24 million appointments delivered in one shape or form. For a country, for England, whose population is 61 million, that's just under half of the country's population who are able to access their GP. And that's just the stuff that's being recorded. This is ultimately bean counting in appointment books. Not everything I do, not everything my colleagues do. We sit and accurately bean count for the sake of bean counting. We're focused on delivering safe patient care. We're focused on responding to the needs of our patients in a manner that we can safely achieve. And I think it's really unfortunate, isn't it? Because the experience of patients is true. They are struggling to get access. There's a whole new COVID lane on the highway. But the experience I'm having, the experience my colleagues are having, which is general practice, has busted a gut and gone beyond. It's relied on goodwill. It's relied on heart. And the response of this government is to beat us with sticks.
So what would you say, though, to users of your services that don't think that they've had a great service from GPs throughout this pandemic?
I think it's really important that there is an open, transparent dialogue with the public about what it is that general practice has been delivering. I'm certainly having those conversations right now with my patients. I'm explaining very, very clearly just how many people I am seeing in a day and how hard I am trying, how hard my practice is trying. And I think we just need to start talking about how patient care is suffering under the watch of this government and how patient care will continue to suffer under the watch of this government because they do not understand how to support a healthcare service. What they have done is chronically, over years, over decades, underfunded the NHS. And now there are fires. There are fires everywhere. A&Es, outpatients, backlog, everywhere. And general practice is equally struggling.
Yeah, but a lot of these fires, certainly what you call fires that we're experiencing currently, they're a result of what I would say the NHS stopping being a national health service and becoming a national COVID service. Everything was dominated by COVID, and it's that's causing some of these many fires that we experience today. And one of the problems that we've had is, I think it was last year around July time, Matt Hancock was calling for GPs to move to telecommunications appointments where necessary. And now there is a call to move back to face-to-face appointments, but it's undeniable that many GPs have been slow to move back to a face-to-face appointment setting where the patient has requested that.
So I think we can't dispute the fact that practices are actually indeed providing face-to-face. We are providing face-to-face appointments. And I think any suggestion that we are not is inaccurate. But what we're having to do is manage an incredible amount of demand because the service is under so much pressure. When we talk about the whole new COVID lane on the highway, which you referenced right there, that's brought a whole new package of work involved. The workforce that we have is the workforce that we have. We're struggling to deal with that. We're struggling to cater to the workload that was already over the top before the pandemic had hit us, the backlog that was already accumulating before the pandemic had hit us. And then there's a whole new COVID lane on the road. And we've been shoring up and delivering the vaccine campaign. There's a whole amount of work that has sort of just, been created through the pandemic. And we've been relying on goodwill. We've been relying on the principles and core values that drive general practice. And all this package does is demean that. It demoralizes us, it disrespects us, and it takes general practice for granted. And much more importantly, it's misleading patients into believing that there is a real shot at the NHS improving with this 250 million. It's misleading patients. That's what this government's doing. Patient care will be harmed. It is currently being harmed, and it will continue to get worse through this winter. And I'm so sorry, but this government is failing all of us.
Check, finally. The BMA, was you involved in the consultation with the government about these plans?
I wish I could say we were involved in the consultation. A lot of it was very high-level briefings, very last-minute, inability to influence anything. We went from 1 minute being told everything's on the table to next minute, this is not a negotiation. And for months, for years, we've been trying to influence the direction of travel. What would recruit GPs? What would retain GPs? What a safe service will look like? But these were simply not heard, or too hard to action. And so I say this is the wrong plan. What next, Mr. Health Secretary? Because this is currently the wrong plan. And so what is your long-term solution? Do you have a plan? Because nothing I've heard so far from any of the people within NHS England and department has suggested, even for a second, that you have a plan.
Welcome to the GB News YouTube channel. You can watch us live 24 hours a day, catch up on your favourite shows and join in the conversation in the comments below.
Don't forget to subscribe and you'll never miss any of our exclusive content.